You said you had a couple projects going, maybe, or something
Yeah.
you wanted to do this year, and so like you couldn't come play a tournament with me and my friends.
Yeah, I'm still working to I'm still working to make to get people to see Double Dummy and to take up bridge. So I want to do a tour in the US, like a multi-city tour where I'm traveling to the locations and maybe have some sort of bridge introductory event around that and just get people to see the film.
Yeah, I've been thinking a little bit lately about how to get people into bridge, and it just seems like such a difficult thing. For me, when I've thought about teaching my friends, the problem with bridge is sort of the process of learning, like, is obviously really difficult. But I just meant like the environment that you can learn bridge in isn't the funnest thing to young people, obviously. And I think that's sort of the main thing, I guess. So like when I've thought about like teaching friends, I could teach them like when we're all hanging out, and we've tried to do that a couple times, and it's sort of happening. Some friends are like learning slowly. But apart from the one friend that I'm teaching, I just yeah, I guess for a young person, the environments that you start out playing with at clubs aren't as vibrant as they're used to, or aren't that vibrant for it to be appealing, I guess. So I think that's a pretty major roadblock, at least when I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Totally
such a
get what you're
shame.
talking about.
Such a shame because it's just the best game. Like I wish I could. This has been a problem with poker friends that I've tried to get into it in the past, where they're just like, how much money can I make from it? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I'm just like, it's not about the money, it's about the love of the game, you know? And like, I've always said that if you gave me poker or bridge to play for the rest of my life, it wouldn't even be close, you know? Like, and I love poker, like, I really, really love poker, but bridge is just like, you know, it's infinite, you know? Something you could just play forever.
Yeah. I played some poker recently with some friends who are my age, and I just really I wanted to be like doing more. Like I wanted to be more like, it was just the betting, and I wanted to be able to play cards. You know, I wanted to like make my card plays matter.
Have decisions and stuff. Yeah. It's like I guess to most people, they probably wonder why somebody would dedicate their life to like a card game, or you know, a large chunk of their life to a card game and that kind of thing. But it's obviously like, I guess the thing from there is like, if they know you to be like, I don't know, some sort of rational person, it must be an awesome game, you
know. You know, one thing I'll tell you though, like, so on Bridge Winners, are you on Bridge Winners?
Yeah.
So on Bridge Winners, they give me the option to write like featured posts.
Yeah.
And I haven't done featured posts for all of the podcasts, and I feel kind of like I feel kind of badly about that, because I want to, you know, everybody's giving me their time. And some people are higher profile than others. And I just haven't done like a very good job of making everyone. I mean, part of it is like, I want to do featured posts, but if the only featured posts, like if it's back-to-back featured posts of mine and they're not getting that much engagement, I'm like, should I make this next one a featured post, or should I just make it a regular post? Like I just did an interview with Mexstroth, and it was really good. It's really good. Yeah. Like I'm super pumped about it. He tells great stories. He talks about getting fired from the nickel team. He talks about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like he was.
I want to hear that.
He was willing to.
Everyone's going to want to hear that.
He was totally game. Like when he sent me a list of like things to talk about, and I saw it on there, I was like, oh wow, sweet. Because I wasn't.
Sick. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
So interested in that, right? To me, I love what they did at the bowl just like the only pair to win the Europa board. They like just seemed like they were crushing. Like when we played them, they seemed to play like phenomenal at the other table and that kind of thing. And I just like, I'm really interested to see why they got fired, because to me they're like, I don't know. It's really easy to just say words like, I don't know. This is kind of a thing that I've been. This has been for me a recent area of potential growth, where I kind of realized there's a thing in bridge that basically I started out playing poker 13 or something like that. Let's say 14 years ago or something. And the evolution of the game from what it was then to what it is now is just insane. There is so much work put into it. There's been so many programs developed, statistical analysis, like it's huge. And then when you compare that to the bridge world, to me, it just seems it's laughable in comparison. And there's so many like conventional wisdoms in bridge, and there's so many scenarios where people just think different things. And I guess I'm sure there's been heaps of people in the last however many years actually going in and doing the work and running simulations on all these spots and things like that. But to me, it's probably not enough for like the top level bridge community as a whole. So for me, it's a project that I'm currently working on, where just anytime I see what I think is an interesting position, I'm just gonna run a simulation on it and do the work. And I think there's issues with it that kind of the way I want to look at some spots is pretty it's pretty arbitrary, I guess. It's kind of just dealing out some number of hands and going through every single hand and looking at comparing the two actions, basically based on what I think every other action should be after that. So when it comes to like the answer I get, it's not going to be statistical at all. It's not going to be it's just a number or an answer that I feel to be right, I guess. So it's probably not something that anybody else could grow from personally. But when I'll give you an example. So we're playing Poland in the Bermuda Bowl, and there was a hand on the second hand where I told you about this hand, where one of the Poles had, I think it might have been Kalita, had Queen X, Ace Jack 9 to 7, Ace X too little, and he opened 4 hearts at first seat favorable, and he won a game swing. Right, he went 3 down in 4 hearts. And we make 3-no trump. And my teammates sort of were under the impression, or maybe it was just a throwaway comment, but said something to the effect of he was just on tilt and he just decided to open a random 4 hearts. And I kind of thought that the Polish world champions probably weren't the types to just randomly open 4 hearts when you're on tilt kind of thing. I thought that was a bit reductionist, I guess, or disrespectful maybe. So I decided to look into it a little bit more. I'd heard that there'd been sims done about them, but I decided to look at a specific spot myself. I saw it in maybe an email thread or a book somewhere, but it was a hand that Bob Hammond, I believe it was Bob, opened void, Ace Jack 9 to 7, Jack X, and Ace 9 to 4. He opened that 4 hearts first seat favorable, which in my thinking previously was just way too good a hand to be opening 4 hearts with. And like you could miss club slams. I guess sometimes you could miss diamond slams, like you could miss heart slams, things like that. And it seemed like way too much. And at the other table, they opened 1 heart, right? It was some high level competition. And so I just dealt out like 200 hands. And I went through all the hands, and from my analysis, opening 4 hearts won about an imp board versus opening a heart. But that wasn't my biggest takeaway from it. My biggest takeaway from it was that just seeing how many problems the 4 hearts opening gave you compared to how often you miss slam. I think in all the hands I looked at, you miss slam like twice. And there were just massive numbers in all these spots where they have to bid 4 spades and go for 800, or they make a takeout double and they're just cooked, and like all these hands. And it was just like very eye-opening for me. And so ever since, I've kind of just been writing down every position that I think is really interesting. And I think that if you ask a lot of the top players in the world what they would do in those spots, you'd get different answers. And I kind of want to just look at a bunch of data, I guess, or maybe not data, but I just want to look at a ton of hands and see what comes of it.
So when you say you dealt out 200 hands, did you took out the exact cards that were in Bob's hand that he opened 4 hearts with?
Yeah. And then randomized the rest.
Did you manually deal them, or did you use a computer?
I'm using the Dealmaster Pro, I think it is. Yeah, Dealmaster Pro. It's got a simulator in there. And so
is this a Bridge website?
No, it's just it's a program. You can buy it.
Huh.
Where'd you go? Yeah, Max. Okay, there you are. Yeah, so you can do all sorts of things. I have another friend who's doing the simming for opening leads. His name's Matt Smith. He's an Australian youth player.
Yeah.
And yeah, just anytime there's an interesting opening lead spot, there's some, I mean, a lot of people know this stuff, I think, from the book that David Bird wrote. Richard Pavlicek has done a lot of interesting stuff. Everyone should go check his website out if you want to look at that. But we've kind of just been looking at extensions of that. And yeah, the stuff is obviously flawed in a lot of ways, but here was a really interesting hand. You got Queen 4th, King 3rd, King 3rd, and Ace 10x.
Okay.
This is a hand I saw in BBO and I think like an Indian Premier League recently. And you get a strong no trump on your right, 2 club statement on your left, 2 spades on your right, 4 spades on your left. I don't know if they played puppet in the spot. I'm not sure if it matters. But yeah, you're on lead, and this was a lead that swung some imps, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a little bit unlucky. One player led a spade and the other one just picked a red suit, which I'm not so sure about. But when we simmed it, the winning lead was a low club, according to the solver, which seems a bit bizarre, but when you think about it, like, the strong no trump guy's on your right and your aim is to build tricks now. You have a lot of stuff and your partner probably is only going to get in like once, potentially. And it's one of those hands where, let's say you start passive, they can...
What's passive, a trump?
Yeah, a trump, right? Which was the second best lead, and it was quite close. But let's say you start a trump on a bunch of these hands, or some percentage of the hands, they're going to set up a red suit via, let's say, like double hooking or something, and they're going to use it to throw away their long club loser at some point. Let's say your partner has Jack 3rd and declarer has King Queen X, or partner has Queen 3rd and declarer has King Jack X, or something like that. Or maybe dummy's just got the Jack. And I guess that would. Anyway, you get the point. But it was kind of interesting to see that the low club was the winning lead there. So I just think the more of these spots I can churn out, the more, I guess, wisdom there is to gain in these things. And obviously they're difficult things to like specifically apply at the table. But if you can take the concepts that you kind of learn from these spots and expand them, then I think it's just another way to grow as a bridge player.
I wonder if the lead is the if it's the same if you don't have the 10 of clubs?
That's an interesting thing. You know what? I will run that and I will get back to you. Yeah, so that's a little project I'm kind of excited about, I guess.
How many hours a day are you spending on
it? Could not tell you. I think on average, I'm probably just running like one thing a day or one thing every couple of days. It's not really something that I've put a ton of work into at the moment. I've kind of had some other things that I've been working on instead. But I've definitely been probably writing down a spot a day that I see that's interesting that I want to sim. And yeah, it's not something that I need to rush or anything. But it's kind of like a long-term project, and it's just a commitment to anytime I think there's an interesting spot to have a look at it. Sabine sent me an interesting email the other day that was I think she'd spoken to Sataj, a teammate of mine, about some of the simming that I'd been doing, and they seemed a little bit interested in it. And they'd been talking about a hand, queen third, queen jack 10 fifth, and ace king tight, and whether that should be opened strong no trump, basically 15, like 14 plus to 17 no trump. And I'm not quite sure if they meant like the top 30 to 40%. Like she said 14 plus to 17, but I'm not sure if that was just like 15 to 17, a normal 15 to 17 no trump with upgrades, or slightly more. But yeah, she asked about how you would potentially sim that, and that's not really a question that I'd thought of before, or the kind of spot that I'd thought of before. But it's kind of interesting because if you make there's going to be like 4 major contracts you get to where at least one of your queens ends up being kind of useless. Even when you play 3 no trump, your stuff is quite slow. The ace king tight makes your hand a little bit worse. So it's just like you have 15 with a 5 card suit, and you have, you know, quite a good 5 card suit, queen jack 10, but then the other parts of your hand are kind of negative. And I don't know, it seems like kind of an interesting discussion. Obviously, it's one that a lot of people might look at and be like, probably doesn't matter at all, or who cares. But I'm very big on just every little incremental edge that you can get, I guess. And sounds like they're interested in that kind of thing as well.
I mean, honestly, I love that you're like thinking about this and you're having conversations with Sabina about it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it, I guess. But it's interesting. That's actually one thing I've been thinking about recently. I think I maybe don't have enough like-minded, incredibly good bridge players around me to talk a lot of hands with and discuss ideas and spots and stuff. I think that'd be probably a good thing for my growth. I have people that I can ask questions to, like Dennis Builder, somebody who's really good, who anytime I have a question is always happy to discuss it with me. I've always asked Vince DeMay about system stuff whenever I've needed it and stuff, but there's a difference between just asking problems every now and then and just like having open dialogue quite often about interesting positions. Yeah. And I think that's something that would be quite good.
Right. Yeah, like that's kind of why when I reached out to you about the bowl, is like I wanted to go through the bowl hands with you, is because I was like, man, I just want to like talk high level bridge.
Yeah, the bowl was so fun. I love that tournament. The 2 times I've ever played it, it's just like I don't know. That's, as a bridge player, I live for that kind of thing, and it's just something so awesome about just playing the best and every little thing mattering, and like kind of just testing yourself, getting all that time to prepare for it, and then just like going out and like testing yourself. It's so cool.
It reminds me of a hand from the Risinger. We were vulnerable, they were not. We're playing against Boya Brogland, and he was playing with, I think his name was Christian. It wasn't his regular
Christian
partner.
Barke. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard good things about Christian.
So it's on day 2. Yeah, it's day 2 of the Risinger. Pretty sure it's day 2. And I had ace 5th, 3 little, queen and 1, and king 3rd.
Ace 3rd, 3 little, queen and 1, king 3rd.
Ace 5th.
Ace 5th, 3 little, queen and 1, king 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And I think I was in first seat. We're not favorable. And I passed.
Wait, you mean you're favorable?
Unfavorable, sorry.
Unfavorable. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Unfavorable. And it goes pass, 3 passes, and Boya opens the bidding a diamond, which shows I don't know if it shows I don't think it shows an unbalanced hand, but it shows at least 4 diamonds. And it goes 1 heart, 1 note. I chose not to overcall a spade.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And it goes
this is the Rising, and this is border match.
Yes.
Okay. Partner, you were first seat, were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so partner passed in 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
So it goes 1 heart, pass, Boya bids 1 no trump, I'll pass.
Yeah.
So I lead my 4th best spade.
Yep.
And the dummy is the dummy has king, queen, jack, 10, 5th of hearts. 3 spades.
It must have an entry.
Ace of clubs, ace 3rd of clubs.
Yeah.
And nothing in diamonds. So however many diamonds it is.
2
diamonds.
Yeah. Okay.
I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's so anyway, I lead a spade, it goes king, and Boya plays the 9. And then my partner returns a spade, so I win the ace. And I just sort of
wait. Sorry. Okay. Declare as king. Interesting. Sorry. So it went low spade, low ace 9, and then they played like the 10th of spades back or something, and it went jack.
I think he played the 8, and it went queen.
Okay. Anyway, so Declare's got queen, jack, X of spades, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I just... Well, go ahead.
It just looks like a kind of, I don't know, like, I guess your partner probably shouldn't have ace and heart length because it's a position, I mean, unless they didn't have much in clubs, I don't know, it just seems like a position that you want to knock out the ace of clubs as soon as you can if partner has. So partner doesn't have, partner has heart length because we have 3 little. Partner could have ace X of hearts. Okay, and declare us 3 little of them. So I guess it's a spot where we do want to, where we potentially it's a race. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, go on.
Well,
so I would assume that partner doesn't have ace 3rd heart, so I would assume the hearts are kind of a problem that aren't going away.
You would think if partner has ace 3rd of hearts, he would have switched. I
think he should probably switch a club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, actually, you know what? Wait, unless unless they have the queen of clubs, and then it's kind of safe for you to switch a club away from the king if you ever had it. If you didn't have the king, then it would still, yeah. Okay, yeah. So if they do have the ace of hearts, they have the queen of clubs. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what were your thoughts and etc.?
I just won my ace of spades and woodenly cleared spades, and
with
then I started
real entry.
Well, I had to. Well, yes, Yes. And with the heart sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I was like, I was like, shit. I played too fast. You know, like if my partner has the ace of hearts, I'm like going to be really sad because like this is bad, and I'm in a little bit of a panic. And so Boya, God bless him, wins the queen of spades or jack of spades, and now plays the ace of hearts.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, great. I'm so happy. And now I have to discard on all the
hearts
on two hearts, and
what
I'm
does
like,
your partner, what signals your partner give?
What signals does my partner give? Good question. I forget.
Sataj.
Oh, my partner played.
Sataj, a teammate, used to give me problems like this back when I started, like back when I just got back into bridge and stuff. And like, I just be like, dude, what did my partner like say? I think he kind of just missed
he played the deuce of diamonds eventually. He played the deuce of diamonds.
Okay. And he had how many hearts? 3, let's say.
He had 3 hearts.
Yeah. Okay. So Clara's got ace of hearts, queen, jack, X of spades. They've got a diamond honor and something in clubs. So I do potentially have a diamond entry. Declare is 3-2-4-4, I assume. I wouldn't mind knowing something about the count. And whether did you say what was their one diamond opening? Was it special?
Yeah, I think their diamond open shit. I forget it. I don't remember.
Okay, thanks for my problem, man.
But it just well, the thing is, it's like so I had to discard, and I realized that I could like play. I could pitch a diamond if I wanted to keep a spade. Like basically, my discard was going to tell Boya where the diamond ace was.
Yeah.
Because if I pitch a spade, I clearly don't have the ace of diamonds.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
So it was like it was kind of play. So I pitched a spade.
And then pitched the club.
I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't bear my queen of diamonds.
Okay.
I pitched a spade. I was like, I'm not. But it just was the most amazing hand because it went from being like, oh, I'm in a panic because if my partner has the ace of hearts, then he doesn't have the ace of hearts, and now it became like this really high level chess game of like, am I gonna? I have to show him who has the ace of diamonds right here. Like,
how was that a bit of an emotional swing for you in your head during the hand?
Huge, yeah, totally.
Do you think you deal with those well?
No, I don't.
And have you taken many steps to improve that? Like, or what steps have you taken?
No, I honestly, like, it happened a couple of times in San Francisco where there was hands where I was expecting and wanted my partner to do a certain thing, or I was expecting Declare to do a certain thing. And I kind of had like made up my mind that that's what was coming. And then it didn't come. And like there was a hand we were defending a heart contract, and I had ace fourth of hearts. And they were in 4 hearts. And my partner could just play. She had a high diamond, and she could tap Declare's hand. The hearts were 4-4-4-1 around the table, and she could tap Declare's hand. And now, like, Declare's just going down. And she knew that her diamond was high, but she didn't tap Declare. She played a heart. And now I'm like, well, shoot. Now I have to now I had to rise ace of hearts and just play another heart, and play her because Declare had showed clubs in the auction. And my partner had preempted against a strong club. My partner had preempted, had bid 2 diamonds, but Declare had shown natural clubs later. And so like now I just have to play my partner for a club card. and like that play that her defense makes sense. And I didn't rise ace of hearts. I didn't think about like, I was like a little steamy. Yeah, I was steaming on that. And so I wasn't able like, and actually like what I did do really well in this hand was after I misdefended and I allowed Declare to make by not rising ace and playing another heart, it was like in the Soloway qualifying. And I asked my partner, I was like, can I talk to you away from the table? Cause I said like, couldn't you just play a diamond? And so I went away from the table and I said, I am sorry. I could have risen ace of hearts. I'm sorry for blaming you, like criticizing. Let's go get them.
So you responded to it well.
Yeah, I think in that instance, I did like previously, prior to that, I would have probably just fumed and like been mad at myself, been mad at my partner, and not really like cleared my head.
Yeah, okay, but you still don't think you really answered my question of like what steps have you taken to improve that side of your game? Because I think that's kind of the most important thing with that. I don't know. I'm a big believer that there's just like so many ways to improve as a bridge player, and a lot of them have nothing to do with bridge. A lot of them are physical and mental preparation, and just learning to deal with certain things and blah blah blah. And I guess that's kind of the trajectory I'm on at the moment, that I'm kind of just trying to find every little thing that can improve in every little way. And I think it's something that a good percentage of bridge players are missing. So I know that you're cognizant and trying to improve that part of things, and I know you have for sure, but I'm interested in how you've tackled that particular part of your bridge game.
Well, first of all, I appreciate your calling me out.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
That's the sign of a friend.
Yeah. Okay, man.
I mean, I'm thinking about a hand we played against Mexroth Rodwell, and I had queen third of hearts, and they opened 2 clubs and then like did like 2 diamonds, something, 4 hearts. And I had an ace king on lead, and I had the queen third of hearts. And Dummy had 4 hearts, and Declare had 4 hearts. No, sorry. Declare had an unknown number of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But like Mac had shown a good hand with I don't know if he necessarily showed 4 hearts. I forget. And I just assumed like Dummy didn't have a lot of high cards, but I guess it was like the 6-4 maybe that he upgraded in the auction. And now, so it goes like heart to the king, heart to the king. Yeah. Rodwell calls for a heart from Dummy. It goes king, ace. And now Rodwell plays another heart from his hand. And I rose with the queen of hearts.
Rise and cash out or something.
I had taken my 2. I had already cashed my ace king, and then I was like,
so you had it down with the queen of hearts, but you could just snap duck the heart. So
if I ducked the heart, no. My partner had the jack king jack of tight of hearts. So if I ducked the heart, Declare's just down.
I thought you said it went heart to the king and ace. I thought it was partner's ace.
No, excuse me.
Okay, no, That's okay.
Dummy played a heart. My partner played the king, and Rodwell played the ace.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And now it just like never occurred to me. I was like sure that he had ace jack 5th of hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just sure. And then it like never even occurred to me. And then there goes like queen of hearts, small jack. Oh God.
Yeah. That's I have notes that I write to myself. This is kind of something from poker and bridge. It's to help me sort of transition between them, and also just to remind me of all the things that I've learned and stuff. And one of the big things I have written on there is what else is there to consider? It's kind of like a question that I want to ask myself whenever I'm like declaring or defending. Just because it's very easy to get stuck in your like singular picture of the hand without actually looking for the other things. Because once you get to a point, you quite often still have time to think, and it's just a good question to ask yourself, you know. And quite often it's not so much about the position, but it's more about what's the best false card, what kind of picture can I paint to declare, or just sort of the other things once you've made your like initial analysis of the hand. So I think that's like a good question to get into your thought process.
I'll tell you something, and I wrote that down. So I've written it down. I'll tell you something which I've recently come to appreciate, is that so much about my effect is about being right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I'm constantly trying to prove like my intelligence.
Yeah.
And so questions like these, like it's so mind bending for me, because I've seen it in other people when they're relating, when they say like some people have this manner of speech where they say right.
Yeah.
And I noticed people doing that recently. I was like, I hate that. Why do you keep like saying things and wanting people to agree with you?
Agree with you. Yeah. Oh. So are you suggesting that asking yourself that question is suggesting that your initial analysis wasn't good enough? Is that what you're getting at?
What I'm saying is that I'm not asking myself questions like this in bridge because I realize that there's just a general dynamic that I have with people, with life, with things that I know what's going on. And so gotcha. I can be very linear about that. Like I'm the smart one. I know what's up. And it's just really,
we're all like that though, sort of like.
It's beautiful. Honestly, it's beautiful just to even like voice it aloud.
Yeah, and, like, it's really cool.
Freedom that comes from like hearing myself say that to you.
That's
like,
honestly, John, one of the things I love about you, that you're so open about discussing things that most people aren't, you know, like, and I think that's like one of your best qualities, you know. It's cool to be able to be real about things like that. Like, especially when there's things that like, you know, everybody does, but no one wants to think about. There was a really cool, I was listening to a Chuck Palahniuk on a Joe Rogan podcast, and there was something that he said that like, I thought was like very powerful. He's talking about how his dad was like really annoying and like a bit of a, I don't know, an alcoholic, etc., whatever it was. But he always asked him he was really keen on this one celebrity, and he was constantly pestering him to get him to introduce her to him, right? And basically he said that when he found out that his dad had passed away, the first thought that went through his head is, thank God I don't have to introduce him to whatever that celebrity is anymore, right? Which is like an awful thing to think about, right? And that's not who he was. Obviously sad that his dad passed away and stuff, right? But it was just a thought that had popped into his head, that he was happy to voice to the world that most people would never dream to say that that thought passed through their head. But everyone has thoughts like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I love that quality in you, man. Not that that's the same thing. Yeah, but I think do you have bridge notes that you like write to yourself that you read before a bridge tournament? Not necessarily about system or anything like that, but just little little things, because I think that's been a really big help for me personally.
I keep a bridge journal during tournaments, and what I would like to do, like what I did in San Francisco, is I would write in it. I would write in it every day after play, and then I would try to write it in the morning and like make an objective for myself. It's based on this thing called the Fearless Mind Journal. And so so for the Fearless Mind Journal, every day you have an objective, and then you do like a plan. And so the objective might be to like for the next time I play, like what else is there to consider? Or maybe that would be like a planned thing, like objective to, to bring be the toughest opponent that I can be today, or to be the best partner. Like that, maybe that would be an objective. And then there's 3 things for the plan. Like, how am I going to execute that? And then I do it's a combination, like Fearless Mind Journal does this, but also I've done some golf coaching with a group called Vision 54. And 54 is the idea behind 54 is that you birdie every hole.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
And they have this thing that I learned there, which was like 3 things you did well today, and then 1 thing you want to improve upon. To try and like gear myself, like, because I come from like such a, I've grown up as being self-critical. And so it's easier to find fault. And with this, it's like, okay, what are the things that I did well? And I'm noticing that actually starting to bleed into my everyday life, because I recently came across this thing called Complaint Free World. Like, it's a book, and it's about so there's this, I don't have it on my wrist now. I forgot about it today, but it's like you wear this thing on your wrist, and if you complain, gossip, or criticize, you're trying to go 21 days without doing any of that, because 21 days is what it takes to build a habit.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm sort of running long here. I'm getting long.
No, that's okay. That's all right. It's interesting stuff. I was listening to on that, like on the 3 things that I've done well, and 1 thing that I can improve on. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and found out something interesting, that apparently practicing gratitude every morning is just really good for your brain and really good for your health. Just wake up in the morning and just saying 3 things that you're grateful for. There's been studies that say that it has like vast improvements on your cognition and your I think your health. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but apparently that's been proven by research. So I imagine that would be a some kind of extension of that. Because like, you don't want to be playing bridge if you never appreciate the good things that you do, and you're always just thinking about mistakes, because bridge is a game of mistakes, and you're almost always going to make some level of a mistake, kind of thing. So it's kind of good to appreciate the good things that you do at times, which is actually something I feel like I'm personally very similar to you in that sense. I've always just been like very critical of my mistakes. I'm a perfectionist at a time, and I only started playing again like 2 years ago, roughly. And when I came back, like I was just so, I wouldn't say hard on myself, but because I was just completely playing poorly and out of it in a certain way, no matter how much I was trying. But you just got to kind of realize that bridge is a journey in a sense, and you kind of need to just find a win out of every loss, and then you can kind of turn it around, I guess. So it's not so much about the mistakes or anything like that. It's the fact that you're growing from every little thing that happens, and I think that's something that I've definitely been quite good at, and I think it's helped me a lot.
Good for you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, maybe if you learn like, okay, here's a question.
Give me an example.
Give you an example of what?
How you're better at it than you were. like how I took my partner away from the table and I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Can you give me an example of I was feeling like a dick for making fun of you.
No, dude, you can make fun of me. It's fine, bro. That's all right.
I'm trying not to make fun of people as much. Sometimes I just can't help myself.
No, dude, I make fun of everyone. Honestly, it's a problem. My girlfriend was having a big go at me about it the other day. Anyway, I think for me, it hasn't so much been. I don't think I've actually made that much progress in that space. I think I've just made a lot more progress in making less mistakes, I guess, as a bridge player. But I had a really good chat yesterday with a good friend of mine, bridge player Liam Milne. A few people will know him from Bridge Winners and that kind of thing. But it was about just working in a partnership and dealing with adversity together and that kind of thing, and some like really good things came out of it. I guess with my partner Andy Hung and I, we like put so much work into practicing for the bowl and that kind of thing, and I'm just constantly, basically our dialogue between each other is a lot of just me trying to, okay, how do we improve on this? How do we improve on that? What about this system spot? Blah, 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 blah. I kind of just write down every little system or auction that I find interesting, we don't have agreements on. And I just realized that our like dialogue, it's like when we first started playing bridge together, we would just like, and we still are, we're really good friends. We get along so well, and it was just fun and that kind of thing. And I realize now that like our dialogue's almost a bit too serious, and we've taken like, almost not taken the friendship out of it, but you know, the bridge was first, like, and like, you know, our friendship should come first in that sense. So one really good bit of advice that he got from a sports psychologist was just organizing partnership dates just once a week or once every 2 weeks. And the only rule is to just, you can't talk about bridge. And it's just cultivating that friendship or reminding, you know, yourselves that like, yeah, we love this game. We're really serious about it, but you know, we're friends, like, and we're doing this together. And I think that's something that Andy and I were missing, and I hope that that's going to be like a good step forward for us.
Have you had a date yet?
No, I messaged him about it yesterday, so we'll have a date soon. We're playing a tournament in Canberra, so maybe I'll come down early or something like that, and we can have a date. Yeah. So that was a good thing that came out of that. Cool. But I definitely need to work on dealing with partnerships better. I think I'm a very strong-minded person, and I think I really believe in my ideas, and I think that I can be a little bit pushy with pushing them onto people. And I think I need to understand that people think about things different ways. People feel different things in certain ways. They communicate different ways. And that was another good thing that came out of my chat with Liam. It's just like realizing that you just have to find solutions to things, basically. And if, you know, the way that I like to do things, if my partner is not conducive to that, then we just find another solution. Let's like find a workaround, you know what I mean? Get to an answer, get to something that works for both of us, that kind of thing. And I kind of, I guess it's probably a problem of mine that I just believe in the way that I do things. I like doing things my way, and I'll, if you ask me about it, I can explain every reason why I think it's best or whatever. But at the end of the day, that shit doesn't matter, you know? Like, it's just, you know, you're two people just working together towards a common goal, and you just got to find a way that works for both people.
Yeah.
So what was I going to say? Okay. So what's an example of something that you've written in your journal recently after a tournament that was something you'd like to get better at?
Wow. I don't know. I haven't even reviewed it since I got home from San Francisco. I haven't played live bridge since I got home from San Francisco.
Are you a person? Oh, sorry, go on.
I did go through all of the hands from one session of the Risinger with Michael Rosenberg.
Oh, awesome.
Because he sat in the same seat as I did.
Sick.
For the session. So we went over every hand.
What'd you get out of that?
Gosh, what did I get out of that? I have more follow-ups. I have more follow-ups like that I need to do that I haven't done with him. Like I want to ask him about.
Even gaining more questions out of something like that is a useful thing.
What did I It's been a little bit since we talked. Like there was one hand where I doubled them in 5 diamonds and we make 6. You make 6 spades, and we're vulnerable and they're not. I had a diamond void. Did I have a diamond void? No, I had I don't remember. It's a good question. I don't know. I'm having a hard time coming up with it.
I guess the question wasn't so much about specifics. It was more, I guess, a broader question of how you tackle your improvement as a bridge player, I guess. And like, how much do you think that just getting more boards in at the table and obviously discussing them with good players and growing like that, and how often do you just look at, I guess, your strengths and weaknesses critically and then just work on them away from the table? Because I've been preaching a little bit lately, I guess. Which I probably do a bit too much. But I guess I told you about that Primed Mind app that I suggested to you, which I'm not sure if you've checked out or anything, but my kind of 2-year journey to getting back into bridge has been like a pretty long and interesting one, where at the start I felt like I questioned whether I could get back to my best, and I questioned whether my brain was just not what it used to be, and my focus was just completely shot. It was I guess probably a bit too long of a story for now. But basically the end result of it is that like I really feel like I have mental preparation for a bridge tournament down to a T. And it's something that I've thought a lot about. And I basically wanted to get my team on board to just try it with me for a tournament or two. And I knew that just preaching it wouldn't do much to help me. So I spent like 2 weeks just getting the science together on everything. I just read a bunch of studies. I read a lot of stuff online about every little thing that I felt like has helped me, and just found all the research on why all of it was good for your brain, basically, and good for your cognitive function and good for your memory and good for your focus and all that kind of thing. And I wrote up like a 12-page document and sent it to the team and was just like, here's what I think, I guess. It kind of starts out with an article that Liam Milne sent the team before the last year's bowl about chess grandmasters and how they prepare for tournaments and how much physical training they put in, and how much science has gone into their diet. Magnus Carlsen sits in a particular posture when he's playing chess so that he can get the maximum amount of oxygen to his brain. He used to drink orange juice, but now that he's a little bit older, a nutritionist said that his body can't break down the sugar as well, so it would lead to sugar crashes. So now he drinks like a combination of chocolate milk and normal milk and that kind of thing. And they're all just athletes. They run 5 miles a day before tournaments, and they understand that like the mental demands of chess are as much physical as they are mental. There was a really interesting point in there that they said that grandmasters playing chess burn the same amount of calories in 2 hours as an hour of Roger Federer playing tennis. And that sitting down and playing chess for an entire day for a grandmaster, it burns 3 times as many calories as the average person does in a day, just sitting down playing chess. So like, if that doesn't help you realize that we're physical athletes as much as mental, then I don't really know what does. But that's kind of the premise of the document I wrote, and I'll send it to you. But yeah, there was a lot of things in there, and I think that the edge in bridge is in the mental space. Just because, okay, let me ask yourself personally, right? I think this is a good question. What percentage of your mistakes are made from a lack of knowledge, and what percentage of your mistakes are made from a lack of focus? Basically, how often do you know better? How often would your best bridge self know better and make the right decision, but you didn't? And how often was it just like, I didn't actually know better there? Because all of the top bridge players in the world, in almost all positions, really do know better if they'd sat there and thought everything through and been completely present and focused in the moment. But the mistakes come from a lack of mental focus. They a lapse in concentration, a lapse in just not being 100% fully there, not thinking through everything, tiredness, fatigue, all that kind of thing. So that's where I think the edge is in bridge these days, and that's the space where I think that, like, since I came back to bridge, mentally I've just made leaps and bounds, and I think I'm back to the best player I've ever been. And it hasn't really had anything to do with bridge knowledge at all. It's all just been about personal preparation, mentally and physically. And I think that's something that a lot of the top bridge players do. And here, the caveat here is that, obviously the top bridge players in the world just have found their way to be mentally focused and be there at all times. And for a lot of them, it doesn't have to be physical. I get that, but I just know personally that that's been everything for me. And I think I know that a lot of bridge players would benefit from this kind of thing. But yeah, I guess it just matters. I guess it's just how much work you're willing to put in, and whether you care about that kind of thing. I don't know, because obviously if you're putting in work in that space, it doesn't just help you at bridge, it helps you in life, so it's just kind of bigger than that.
Yeah. I did this exercise thing yesterday morning, Saturday. It's called F3, and it's at 6:30 in the morning, and it's all men, and it's like outdoors. It's whatever the weather is, and I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go to the one tomorrow morning at 5:30, which is super early for me.
Yeah,
super early.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't know, 5:30.
And when I hear you talking about this stuff, it makes me gets me kind of more juiced about, like, on, what was it? Thursday, I got up. I had to move my car because I have an electric car and it was charging, and the parking ticket was going to run out and it was potentially going to get towed. So I had to get up at 6:30, which I was bitching about when I like set the alarm.
Hey, were you not wearing your wristband? No complaining for 21 days, mate.
I don't think I've made it past a day.
That one, did you?
I don't think I've made it past a day. But the standard in that is that you have to say it aloud. So I was internally complaining about this, which doesn't.
That sounds like a cop out to me, mate.
Try it, and you'll tell me like here, try it.
Oh,
not complaining for 21 days.
I would be able to do it.
But I ended up, so I woke up at like 5:45 in the morning, and I was like, well, I should just go get my car. Like, I should just go move my car now, like, because I don't want to go back to sleep. So I went and moved my car. What?
Getting up in the morning for me is just one of those impossible things sometimes, though. When you don't want to do it, it's just like, nah.
So I wasn't happy, but I got up, I went and moved my car, and I came back, and I was like, well, I could go back to bed, or I could just, start my day. And I did all these things like that I want to do for myself. And it was like, it wasn't even 7:00. And I was like,
I love that feeling.
I love it, man. I love it. And then I ended up flittering away some of the day. Like, I didn't really attack it with the, like I said, I didn't want to come to Australia because I really want to focus on like this movie and the tour and really getting it out there, and just so I can have peace about it. Like, that's what I don't have right now, because I haven't really done it. I haven't really, I've expected a lot from other people to, like, in terms of promoting the movie, in terms of showing the movie. And it's like, look, this is my thing. I have to do it. And I'm engaging with that. And so that's why like, I mean, I have a situation where I can pretty much like do whatever I want, which is good, but it also is like, can be a huge curse, because I can just like, I can get through the day messing around and not really.
Yeah. I have that
really,
with poker and bridge as well. Well, poker, I guess. Yeah. But it kind of, I don't know, opens up a lot of doors for you, right?
In terms of what?
Just options, just things that you can do. If you find an interesting project of any sort, you can just do it. If you need to dedicate X amount of time to something, you can just do it,
I recently had a mental shift about this. Somebody was talking to me, and I had complained recently, like people would say, are you traveling? And I was
complaining again, huh?
Yes. I am the one that needs this bracelet. And I was like, I hated when people would say, have you been traveling? Because I'd be like, like, what do you mean traveling? Like, and because anyway, so somebody asked me, have you been traveling recently?
Were you saying that people associate traveling with leisure and not work?
Yes, I think that's an aspect of it. Well spotted. And so somebody said, have you been traveling? And I said, yeah, I got to spend 10 days in San Francisco playing in the North American Bridge Championships. And it was like, I loved how I phrased it, because I said, I got to, instead of saying I was in, I said like, I saw, because like, I am privileged. I am
so lucky to be able to do that. Yeah,
I am
exactly.
So privileged. And it's like, I'm starting to like come to grips with that, and like to be able to share it in a way that's like not taking the, you asked me like what I've been up to, and I was like, ugh. I'm like falling into like a ball, like, I mean, I have an amazing life, and I mean, I have
That's the thing though. Like, it's very easy for like to point at people who are privileged and say they have this and they have that and they have that, but like, a lot of times people in positions want what you have or want other things and things like that. So like, it's very easy to think like, I don't know, like the idea of privilege is like, yeah, we're super, super lucky, but life isn't that simple,
Well, I could just see, I mean, just listening to you here, I could think, well, I'd like to be like as good of a bridge player as Nabil is. I'd like to have that, and I can just see it already as a.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to like? What else you want to talk about? Chat about interests? Like.
I saw this thing. I saw this interview with Jeff Bezos yesterday, and he talks about like what got me to watch the video was that he says it's always day one.
I love that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
There was you know what? In that document I wrote up, I called it The Mental Edge, but there was something there about how babies, when they have like their curiosity is like almost endless, and they approach things with just a fascination to it. And basically the suggestion was that like we kind of need to go back
to having the curiosity of babies to just be so interested in something and delve into it and be like fascinated and happy and curious and that kind of thing, rather than like looking at things monotonously, I guess. And that kind of stuck with me quite well, because like if everyone approached bridge like that, like, you know, the first time when you first had that passion for bridge, when it first came, you know, and you were just so interested and all you wanted to do was learn and grow and grab everything. You just need to keep that with not just bridge, with like everything in your life, really. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool quote.
Yeah, I heard it. My mom sent me this text the other day. It was an Oprah Winfrey interview, and this guy was a monk, and he said like, I forget how he said it. He said it was about practicing gratitude, but it's like trusting in it was about like just trusting that even, and like he said, practicing gratitude for things that you don't want to, like you think you don't want something, so like being grateful for that. And it struck me when he said that. I was just like, wow, that's so.
Can you elaborate on that? The being grateful for the ability to be able to choose whether you want or don't want something. Is that what we're being grateful for? Or?
He said it as just being grateful for even when you're getting what you don't want. That you're grateful for what came to mind was the hand against Mextroth Rodwell when I crashed my partner's Jack of Hearts.
Just grateful to be sitting playing Mextroth Rodwell.
I don't know if it's that, but like I think it's more maybe where it's just like, I think when I get in the right frame of mind, there's just a gratitude for just what is. And I think that's what it is. Even when it's not in line with like whatever my personal preference is.
Yeah, just gratitude. Yeah, okay. I like that.
But I can send you, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you. Do you want me to I'm going to send you
send me everything.
The link. I'm going to send you the link.
Send it all. I want it all. Hey, by the way, can I just say, if there's anybody out here listening who's interested in crowdsourcing some Sims, kind of the way I'm interested in doing it, because I haven't thought of a better way to do it, is a lot of manual work, just going through hands and going through every bid, and quite often assigning EV values to things and things like that. So it's a bit of work, but if anyone's actually interested in looking at some things like that, then get in contact with me. You can find me on Bridge Winners, or Bridge Winners is probably the best way, I guess. But yeah, that's just wanted to throw that out there, because there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of manual labor, and you know, we could all kind of grow from it, I guess.
It seems like you could create a website pretty easily, and it would be like kind of a master solvers sort of thing. Like you could just have multiple choice. Just in terms of like, I'm thinking about the hand where you talked about Hammond, like, just ask people to vote. Like, I guess you could do it as bidding problems on Bridge Winners, even if you.
But that's kind of not. That's my point, though. I don't think that actually makes an answer. Just a bunch of people who are good said something. You know what I mean? I'm not taking away their experience and everything like that. But on something like that, where a bunch of good players are doing one thing, and another is doing another thing, I want to actually just look at, randomize it. Like, you know, put that hand through a simulator, create a bunch of hands, and then look at every single spot. It's like bridge players' judgment quite often comes from just their years and years and years of experience, right? And quite often that experience from that particular spot is from being in it 100 times, right?
Yeah.
Because all these spots are specific and different. So how about if we look at the spot 300 times and write down the value of it, and get you know, whether write down, the first board, okay, opening 4 hearts, 1, 6 imps. Moving on to the next, blah, blah, blah. And then you just keep a value, and you actually, quite often, the results might just be kind of inconclusive. But for me, the first time I did it, it wasn't so much the 1 imp per board. It was just seeing that it just opening 4 hearts in that spot. And I think it had something to do with the heart void. That's kind of one of the next things I want to look at. Sorry, the spade void is one of the next things I want to look at. It just wreaked havoc, hey? And it was just so clearly good if you just went through and looked at all the hands that it was enough, more so much than the imp value. It was just enough where there were so many hands where I was just like, because I was obviously, the way I was looking at it was you open 4 hearts and then, okay, what do you do with the next hand? And like so often it was like, oh God, this problem is awful, I had to assign weights and values. It was just, there were so many problems like that. It's just like, oh God, like, thank God I'm not at the table right now,
Right.
And then it opened up some new questions, actually. It was just like, what are you supposed to do when they open 4 hearts on your right and you have this particular hand, like, and your vol against not? And then, you can sim that and you just keep going, and, eventually if you've put in enough work and you've got enough hands on deck, you can learn a lot, I think.
Like, what do you and Andy play, for example, when you open 4 hearts? Let's say you have this hand with the spade void and the 2 aces, and it goes like 4 spades, or it goes 4 spades. I don't know. It goes 4 spades.
This was the interesting thing.
When you play double as now?
But from the other guy, or the 4 hearts opener?
From the 4 heart opener.
Yeah, so this was the interesting thing that we play double as you want to bid, but that was an important question that I said that if it did go 4 hearts, okay, so the first question that came out of that was, do we now need, knowing that opening 4 hearts and first seat favorable is good, do we now need a weak and a strong 4 hearts opening, or can we keep it kind of wide, right? That's the first question. The second question is, what's the opportunity cost? So we could open 3 no trumps to show a good 4 major opening or something, but I kind of wanted to run a sim on how often, I guess there's a few questions. How often does gambling come up? And I think obviously gambling is going to come up a lot less than the 4 major opening. And then once gambling does come up, does it win some absurd amount of imps? Which that's the next thing to look at. And then from there, you decide which is more valuable. And then if we don't have a 4 major opening, a weak and a strong, then I think that double has to just do something, right? Not so much I want to bid, but like I'm a bit better than what I had, and I'm happy for you to bid and I'm happy for you to pass. Just because I think the idea of, I guess there's going to be some hands where you just have a free sack. That's the problem. But personally, I think that this hand, if it did go 4 hearts, pass, 4 spades, and you open void, ace, jack 9 to 7, jack X, ace 9 fourth, I think you just have to double, just because it's right for partner to do something, That was my personal opinion.
Because if partner wanted to double the 4 spades, they could double 4 spades. But I guess maybe
no,
they might not
I'm talking
have a
about
double
4
of like
hearts, pass, 4 spades.
I know. I'm wondering if it goes 4. I said I'm wondering if it's better.
4 hearts, 4 spades,
overcall...
pass to me. Yeah, I would double again. Yeah, I would double again because now I got some defense. My partner didn't take the sack. But yeah, because if my partner didn't hit it and I had the hand that wanted to, like that spot's easy personly.
Yeah.
If I had the hand, my partner didn't hit it. If I had the hand that just wanted to sack, I can just sack.
Right.
And yeah, I think doubles this hand, but it's more just the problem of when it goes 4 hearts, pass, 4 spades, and it's direct. Should this hand double? Because typically double says I want to bid, so you can only pass when you have it. But I think this hand kind of, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think this kind of hand just like it's going to be right for partner to do something, Yeah. Anyway. There's like some other stuff, like, I don't know, the bowl was really interesting. Like, I know we never went over those bowl hands, but there was one hand I was thinking about from the bowl where it went 1 club on my right. And I had something like Jack third. Partner might have been a passed hand, but I had something like Jack third, Ace King 10 9x, 3 little, Ace King tight. And I'm pretty sure partner was a passed hand. And I decided to overcall a strong no trump rather than overcall a heart. And I kind of thought at the time, maybe I had 2 low spades and Jack third diamond. I don't know, whatever it was. But I thought at the time that sometimes I could talk them out of a spade game if I was lucky. Let's say they had heart shortage or something.
Yeah.
I could talk them out of a spade part score.
Right.
I had a good suit, so I don't know if it was all or I was vol against not, but I had a good suit, and so I wasn't too worried about being able to run to 2 hearts, and I just thought it was kind of had preemptive value, and like because I had a good suit, I could just make it a no trump because they opened a club on my right. Could just make a no trump a fair bit when they make 2 spades because they couldn't get to their spade fit, so I thought 1 no trump was good, but I ended up just getting double and going for 500 against the part score.
You didn't run.
This is the part that sucked about it. Partner, it went double and partner ran to 2 clubs. I think it was 2 clubs. Did they open? Yeah, they must have opened a club on my right. Yeah, partner just ran to 2 clubs. And now I didn't want to run to 2 hearts because like partner, what's stopping partner from having a stiff heart and queen 6th club or something like that. So yeah, we just played 2 clubs. I think 2 hearts might have been better on the hand, or maybe it was the same. I can't really remember, but yeah, just sitting 2 clubs doubled. I had the Ace King of them, so whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, partner has 5, so yeah, at least 5, so whatever. But yeah, that was a bit of a sad hand. But that's to me an interesting one to sim because I think the conventional wisdom is to overcall a heart with that hand opposite a pass, and it makes sense. But I don't know how much that outweighs the preemptive value and letting them miss a fit, I guess. I don't know if I had 3 or 2 spades though, but yeah, that was one. And then another one that I learned pretty quickly from some lead sims was that I had Queen Jack 9 to 5, Ace to 6, stiff and stiff.
Yeah.
And strong no trump on my right. I bid 2 clubs for the majors. I went 3 spades on my left, which was splinter-ish, I think.
Yeah.
Pass, 3 no trump on my right, or pass. And there was a couple things here. So there was it was quite a slow 3 no trump bid on my right. So I figured that my thoughts were that because I had stiff in the minors, that quite often partner had a deep stopper before they had 9 tricks in those suits, and that declarer probably only had 1 spade stopper, and so I could lead a spade, knock out their thing, and because I had the ace of hearts, I could get back in and cash my spades. So that was one thing, but I missed the partner didn't double 3 spades, which I don't think they should do always, personally, because it's a spot where over 3 spades, you either have to choose 3 no trump or not choose 3 no trump. And if you had like a pass as an in-between, or you have pass and redouble, it kind of adds all these options to them. So I don't really agree with doubling there a large percentage of the time, or any real percentage of the time. But anyway, if you look at some lead sims on this kind of position, it's just always better to lead your longest suit. And at the other table, Meckwell just led a heart and just beat 3 no trump, and we let it make, kind of thing. And I thought to myself, like, oh, maybe that's a bit of an unlucky swing. Maybe that was wrong. And then just looked at some lead sims, and it's just, yeah, it's just always better. And I kind of laughed to myself because I know Mech and Rodwell have done the work, you know what I mean? I think I'd heard they did a lot of simming back in the day and stuff. And yeah, that's just knowledge I didn't have, I guess, kind of thing. But they were 2 interesting spots from the bowl, I thought.
I was playing online the other day in a speedball, BBO speedball, like against random opponents. And I had ace, king, queen, jack, 5th, jack 10, 9, 7th, and a singleton diamond.
Ace, king, queen, jack, 5th. Yeah. Well, sorry, what were you?
Jack 7th of hearts. Jack 10, 9, 7th of hearts.
Okay.
And we're favorable.
And what was you had? What was your last card?
Wait, did I have jack? No, I had jack 10, 9, 6th.
Okay, two more cards.
Yeah, sorry. And I had 2 diamonds. 2
low diamonds. Okay, yeah, cool.
And so they opened a strong no trump on my right. And I decided to pass.
Okay, yep.
Because I thought
cool, we're gambling.
I was gonna double them and 3 no trump.
Okay.
That was my
what are the colors? What are the colors?
We're not vulnerable. They are.
Yeah, but still getting 200 against 420 is not great. I guess you're likely getting 500 a lot, if that's the case. But okay, anyway, whatever. You passed.
So I passed, and now my lefty transferred to clubs, and I was like, I can't deal with him like just passing out 3 clubs.
Yeah, obviously not. Yeah, you have 3 hearts in your hand.
So now I bid 3. I only bid 3 hearts, and now they jumped to 5 clubs. But the funny thing was, he had my left hand opponent.
Wait. Did you say it was? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, okay.
I only bid 3 hearts, hoping that they would still bid 3 no trump because they had heart stoppers.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I like how you think. That's pretty funny.
And so, but now my left hand opponent bids 5 clubs. And I was just like, okay, I'm just.
And you're really happy with how you bid this hand?
No, but I'm just like, I'm doubling anyway. They don't know they're thinking anyway. So
okay,
the hand on my left had doubleton, singleton, and then like, I think he had an 11 count. I think he had ace, jack, 6th of clubs, and queen. He might have had 7
so this is looking
clubs.
pretty good.
He might have had 7 clubs.
Yeah.
My partner had the king of hearts, but he just bid 5 clubs because like, anyway, I didn't because he had the singleton heart. So, anyway, that's just a hand that I played recently.
Did you beat it?
No. But I was also playing with this woman who's like who's played social. Like she's a beginner. Like she's played social bridge, but she's like, and so we were going over the hands on the phone afterwards, and it was interesting to go over the hands with her because I'm the expert in this situation. And like the first hand, I messed up because I didn't count like dummy. Dummy had 7 clubs on this hand too. And I didn't count, I couldn't count the 7, So he thinks I'm really hot stuff.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting conversation. So what happened on this board, John? Look, ever since I was a kid, I could nail 6, but anything past that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm an expert at 6, but 7, I struggle.
Because Declare made I could have beaten the contract. Anyway, it was just they were cold, and now they came off the dummy. They had all these cashing clubs in the dummy, and they came off the dummy, and I totally screwed up. So the very first hand, I'm like, let's go over the hands afterwards. The thing is so I'm playing with her in the Pro-Am game. I'm not a pro, but I'm in the context of that game, I'm a pro, and she's an am. Yeah. So her teacher introduced me to her, and she said she's keen to get better. She wants to learn. So I'm like, great, I'm happy to play with her. So we play this speedball, and I'm like, let's go over the hands afterwards. And so the very first hand, I'm like, well, here's what happened. I couldn't count to 7. I thought the dummy only had 6 clubs. So I'm just what any sort of leverage I have with this woman. She's probably like, what an idiot.
Have you seen Happy Gilmore where he's playing the Pro-Am and just that guy's there just, okay, yeah, it sounded like that kind of thing, yeah. He was playing with Bob Barker, that's right. He's playing the Pro-Am with Bob Barker and he's just playing terribly and Bob's just like, what kind of pro is this? I feel like it's a similar thing.
Oh my God.
I've been teaching my friend lately, and it's been a really interesting experience. I'd never taught somebody from scratch or anything. I'd never thought about the right way to teach somebody at bridge, and I'm learning a lot about how badly I've gone about it. In a sense, I think one of the things was just like I never even thought about this, but you know how bridge lessons at clubs are like, okay, this week we're going to learn Stamen, and it's all just specialized. Yeah. I have not been doing it like that at all. We have little things like that, but I think I needed to just dedicate a while to every little thing where it's just like things have come up and I've explained it to him and taken some time and I've wrote it all up in a document for him so he can go back and read about it. But we never just churned out one specific thing a lot, and that was kind of a big thing. Hey, did you see the hand that I posted on Bridge Winners about I think I called it like a triple squeeze end play thing?
Mm-mm.
You didn't? Okay. It was kind of just from practicing with him on BBO, and it was this interesting position where I asked whether it had a name because of the fact that I called it like a triple squeeze end play thing because what happened at the table was that the guy was triple squeezed. And so I could have just pitched a certain card. I could have pitched my low spade and then ducked the club because he had to bear his ace and then my hand was high. But I didn't actually know what his exact hand was at the time. And at the table, my left-hand opponent had pitched a spade. And so I had to keep my low spade in case there was a bare queen of spades on the left. And if they showed out, then I had to counter the hand and I could throw them in. So it actually, the guy was just triple squeezed, but the way that it worked at the table was that like it was a triple squeeze and then a throw in, I guess, kind of thing. So it was kind of an interesting position, but like a couple of people replied and were just like, this is just a triple squeeze, I guess. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess. I don't think I even really replied to it. I said like, oh yeah, you're right. But I didn't really bother explaining that practically at the table it ended up being that position. But yeah, it was just a cool hand. It was funny. And I guess I just remembered it because it was a hand that I played on BBO with my friend. And I had never really played on BBO much in my life. I've used it for partnership. Robots, always robots. Yeah, just because they bid quick and they play quick, and yeah, it's just good for. I've been going on teaching tables with him and either playing against robots or just sitting in every single seat and then being on Skype with him and just churning it out and talking about things. Send him through Bridgemaster, which he loves, and yeah, I think it's just been a fun experience, to be honest. I've never gone through that, just teaching somebody to play from whatever, and it'll be a journey, but I'm hoping in 2 years' time that he's a pretty strong bridge player. I think he probably will be.
What's his name?
Alex.
Gonna
keep an eye on it. Keep an eye out for him.
You don't want to give us his last name?
Nah, long story. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll explain that to you another time.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the best thing you've seen him do at the table where you're like, man, that's awesome that he did that?
So many things. He's just a really smart kid. But I would say that there was a hand where we're playing a pairs tournament, and I knew we needed a top on the last board to have a chance of sneaking into third, right? And he knew it as well. And they opened like a spade on my right or something, and I had
I had something like 3 little stiff, queen third, jack 10 to 6. And I was favourable, and I overcalled one no trump. Right? And it went like 2 hearts on my left, 3 diamonds from him, 4 hearts on my right. I bid 5 diamonds. And it went past to him. And he went into this really long tank. And he ended up being 6 diamonds, right? But he had this 16 count with like ace king 5th diamond and a shortage or something. He just had an absolute rock. And I asked him what he was thinking about afterwards, and he was like, dude, like, he's only been playing for 2 months now, right? He was like, the opponent's bid to a vulnerable game, right? You were favorable. I knew you were screwing around, but I just knew that it was our only chance to get a top on the board if we could somehow make 6, right? And I was just like, wow, you somehow worked out that I'd psyched, which had never really, I'd explained to him bidding light in 3rd seat not vulnerable, opening light at 1st seat favorable. He like kind of gets those concepts and stuff, but like he basically almost fielded the psych like he would have if he didn't think that we needed a top. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, wow, that is really impressive. And just there's been a few little moments like that where he's like opened a preempt. He's like opened 3 clubs with only 6 of them. And I'm like, dude, like you're supposed to have 7 for that. And he's like, yeah, but I had like a really good suit and I had shape and I was 1st seat not vulnerable. And like, I can't really argue with it because it was actually a good 3 clubs opening, but I'm just trying to teach him like a certain way. But at the end of the conversation, I had to be like, yeah, look, honestly, you're right. He's like, see, shut up, Nabil. So it's a funny thing because like there's been times where he's not listened to the law of total tricks, and I'm like, dude, you have to listen to the law of total tricks. And it's a problem because he's a really smart dude and he's always been used to being the best at whatever he's doing, but he's only been playing bridge for about a month and a half, and you know, on one of these hands it worked. It was actually right for him not to listen to the law of total tricks, and it was actually quite logical for the position not to, right? But I told him afterwards, I was like, dude, law of total tricks. And he was like, yeah, but this and this and this. And like, and I was right. So shut up kind of thing. I feel like it's bad. It's not bad. Like, it's funny to see, and it's really cool to see him so early thinking for himself in that sense. But I can already foresee that once he gets to a certain level, it's going to be a bit difficult to change his mind on certain things.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be fun. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, we're playing the Gold Coast together if we ever find some teammates. But everyone's gone, so it might just be us. I don't really know what we're going to happen. But I've gone through like so many people and just haven't found anyone. Because I guess obviously it's hard to get on a team when I'm like, yeah, my friend's been playing for 2 months. You know? People are like, oh, so he's a beginner. I'm like, nah, I really think that come Gold Coast, I think he's going to be like level of like a decent sponsor. Like not, yeah, maybe just an okay one or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He's going to be, I think he's going to be advanced, you know, or like a good intermediate player. Like, yeah, you know, which is pretty good after 3 months or 4 months, you know?
How many tricks did he take in 6 diamonds?
He almost made it. He, if the club finesse was on side, he had play. But he ended up going 4 off, which was 1 too many, because he played to make it. But actually, if he'd gone 3 off, it would have been a good board because everyone's making 4 hearts their way. So yeah, that was Yeah, I've had actually so many funny hands with him. It's interesting playing with yeah. It's literally been so fun. Yeah, I never taught a friend to play and just started playing with him like this. But it's been so interesting because like even when we're having a bad session, we just find the fun in it, and he finds the fun in it. It's just cool, you know.
Yeah, I was teaching my two friends. So a high school classmate of mine and his wife, they live here in Charlottesville, and they've got 3 daughters, and 2 of them are twins. And so I was teaching the 2 twins, and I've taught Hool to the wife. You know Hool?
Oh, Hool, that's the thing. That's a website. I was thinking about the name of this the other day. How do I spell it? HWL?
HOOL.
HOL.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
So I was teaching them, they're 10 years old, these twins, and they're adorable. And I was teaching them, the mom was like, let's teach them Hool, because I've taught the mom Hool. And then she's like, well, actually, she sent me a text earlier today. She's like, I'm not sure. We might just have to play hearts or spades, because I'm not sure if they're ready for bridge / Hool.
Mm-hmm.
So I get over there, we're like hanging out. I'm sort of like, how's this going to work? I don't really know. And eventually we sit down and we play a hand. I show them what a trick is. And then we play a hand of bridge with open cards. And it's kind of dragging. And so then we're like, okay, so we had like this Hool board, where you write down your shape. And so it's like, why don't we just play a hand of Hool? And we're writing it down, and it's kind of fun because it's actually like, there's some, like, you start to see the light bulbs go off. Like there was one hand, the second hand we played, I had 2 high card points. And my friend, my high school classmate, he showed that he had 15. And my partner showed that she had 13.
Okay, yeah, so 10 left.
No, sorry. My high school classmate showed he had 16, when my partner showed he had 13, and I only had 2. So now this one girl realizes, she puts together that I only have 2 high card points. It's the second hand she's ever played, or the third hand. And she starts busting out laughing because she thinks it's so funny that I have like such a bad hand.
That's so cool.
It was so cool, man.
I love those moments.
I was like, yes, there's hope.
When playing with my friends, seeing his mind tick over in positions and seeing him like looking curious and stuff, I honestly loved it so much because it's so cool to see him like realize things. Like, you know, you can just see them actually realize things in the moment and like question them, and then like, be like I'm like, man, it's so cool just to see my friend who, you know, I've been friends with for ages, to see his brain tick over at bridge and to like problem solve and stuff, and to solve problems, and like seeing him play a hand really, really well is just like, oh man, how cool is that, you know?
How did it start that you did he ask you to teach him, or?
I've just been trying to convince him to learn for a long time. He's somebody who I've thought for a very long time could be, I don't know, the best player in the world at bridge, you know, like he's like, yeah. And I've been trying to teach him, get him to learn for ages, and he never did, but finally he agreed, and he's got some spare time, and we've just been playing heaps, I guess. And I'm really excited for it.
When are you next? Like, how often are you doing it?
So it was probably every day to every second day we'd do something online or go play a duplicate. So like, even though he's been only playing for 2 months, we've been playing a lot. But he's just gone away for 4 weeks kind of thing. So I gave him a bridge book to take with him. I learned about UBid. Did you know about UBid? I don't know why I'd never heard of it before. It's like an app where you can bid hands by correspondence. Yeah. So we can just get 50 different hands up and just bid them together, and they'll get sent to him, and then he bids his bids and they get sent back, and you can specialize to learn certain systems and stuff like that. So that's honestly going to be huge for us. So I messaged that to him for that's just going to be the perfect thing while we're away. Like whenever he has time, he can bid some things, and that's the play he gets. He's like the play. He's just like he's onto it kind of thing. He obviously makes mistakes and plenty of mistakes and things like that. He's just been learning, but it's the bidding that's kind of like a difficult thing to get, and having that, being able to teach him certain things is like massive, because I kind of want to get him to the point by the Gold Coast that he knows check back, maybe just simple check back, Bergen raises. He knows. So far now he knows. He knows. So rather than playing Michaels, we play Lubs and Hubs. So Michaels is Hubs, so it's the highest unbid suits and the lowest unbid suits, so that he can remember them. Because I didn't want to teach him that you have spades and a minor and then pass or correct and all that stuff, right? So that's what he knows. That he knows. What does he know? Fourth suit game forcing. You know what? Let me get my thing up. 1 second. Bridge. Yes. Okay. So yeah, he knows that like okay, so he knows, I guess, all the basic stuff, blah blah. Two clubs game force, he knows transfers, he knows Stamen, he knows Q raises, yeah, fourth suit game force, hubs, lubs, yeah, and keycard. They're the things that he knows. But I feel like to get to a point where I feel like you need a base of things in bridge, and I think check back is probably one you need. I don't actually think Bergen is that important, because we've just been getting by fine. Like 1-2 is what that 1-3 is invitational, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, really, you know what I mean? Like, and if you got a game forcing hand with a raise, you just change suit and then you bid the suit. Like, and he knows that. So we just, so rather than having Jacoby, which obviously it's useful, but I don't think it's necessary, because there's ways to get around it. Like as long as you change suit and change suit at the 2 level, then either jump it or go back to the next suit, go back to the original suit. He knows that that's a game forcing and raise. He knows about Q bids, I guess. But it's just like, what other things do you think you need to be able to play constructively? He knows key card. So I think for me, it's check back. Yeah, it's kind of really the only one. Like what's expert standard got? Just Bergen, Jacoby, check back. I guess blackout, but screw that. I haven't actually taught him about reverses yet. But there's been funny things where like I never taught him about redoubles, and we were playing at a club and it just came up, and I told him just to ignore it if it came up. So I don't know if I'm teaching him in the right way, but I'm just like sort of trying to teach him things that matters, and he's somebody who learns by doing. Yeah. So he just likes to just get out there and play and like learn as he goes. So we've kind of just been doing a bit of that. Yeah. So yeah, should we wrap it up, or was there anything else you wanted to discuss? Hands, ideas?
Are you thinking about starting a podcast?
I was thinking about it. Not so much for the starting a podcast, like not so much for the like having a successful podcast, but more for the fun of it. And I think I'd learn something from it, and I think it'd be interesting. And basically what my idea was I actually found out that this had already been done, but not. Yeah, basically that my idea was prove us wrong. And basically the concept was that so there was a really good bit of advice I heard on a podcast once from Yuval Noah Harari. He's the guy who wrote *Sapiens* and did a bunch of other things. He was asked if he had any advice for young people, and it was to have less opinions. And basically he said that, basically his point was that so often there's people out here discussing things that they aren't really equipped to discuss. They aren't experts on the topic, and there's just all this hearsay going around, and everybody creating a culture where it's okay to just have random opinions about things and nobody really knowing what they're talking about, right? And I thought that was so important. I thought that was so interesting. And then I equated that to myself, and I realized that I have so much that I think is knowledge, right? But really it's just things that I heard smart people talk about and say, and I never actually went and researched them myself, right? So my idea for the podcast was prove us wrong. And I guess the other thing was that I think that these days, and maybe always, people are way too attached to their opinions and ideas, right? They equate themselves to their opinions, right? And so when you try to challenge somebody's thoughts on a certain topic, they take it personally, right? Which obviously is just not conducive to growth for anyone, right? Because we need to be able to discuss things impersonally and get to the bottom of things free from emotions. And and one of my favorite things is discussing something with somebody, learning something, and then changing my opinion on it, realizing I was wrong and stuff, right? And I kind of realized that this that it was a big thing for me. It was just like, I think I know a bunch of shit about things, but realistically I don't know anything. It's all just things that I've heard from smart people that I trust, you know? And so the idea for Prove Us Wrong was to get an opinion that I had that I knew wasn't very concrete, right? And then getting an expert on the topic on to discuss it, right? And hopefully get them to educate us on it, and hopefully get me or us to change our opinion at the end of it, right? And I just thought that would be just a really good thing and really interesting, and I thought I'd learn heaps from it, and I thought it was I think it'd be a good thing for a lot of people to learn, and I think it'd be good for me because, you know, I would find out all the ways that I think I'm smart but I'm stupid, you know. So yeah, that was the concept, and I ran it by some people. They didn't have much time. Some people were interested in it, and it kind of just fell away because I got interested in a couple other interesting things. And yeah, I guess I wanted to do this just because I wanted to work out how difficult it was to have a conversation with somebody in the podcast format. And I wanted to find out just, if I could keep a conversation rolling, I guess. Whether I enjoyed it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I really appreciate you letting me do this, Johnny. I had fun. I don't know how useful it is for people. I reckon we could probably snip it down to 5% of what we talked about, or 10% of what we talked about, and that might actually be interesting. But whatever. I think that's also part of podcasts. It's just like having a chat. And you know, people can listen or not listen, whatever. You know?
I was kind of hoping that
comes up.
I was kind of hoping that you were going to have a bridge podcast.
Okay, that would be interesting, I guess. You know what? I think I would actually enjoy that because I think I actually have some stuff to add to the bridge space. But I never actually considered that at all. Maybe what I can do is anytime you have a guest, I'll get them on my podcast afterwards, and I'll just try to have a better podcast than you did. I just learn from your mistakes.
If you want to have a laugh, if you want to have a laugh, you should go to the comment section on Apple Podcasts for the settings. Oh my God, I should read those. I'm gonna read those. I'm gonna read those.
Read them on a podcast.
I'm gonna read them at the end of this. as like this is like
yeah, we just proved everybody on the review section right. Like, this is the most boring shit I have ever listened to.
Oh my god.
Oh man. I don't know, man. Like, you know what? I asked you about this with Bridge. What about podcasting? Do you re-listen to your podcasts, decide on what you didn't like about them and what you liked about them, and then like take steps to grow and be better next time? Are you preparing for them better? I don't know. It's obviously just quite a big question, but I think it's an interesting one.
So I'll tell you what, I'm in this thing called the Conscious Leadership Forum, and we did an exercise a couple of months ago on conscious listening. And what we did was we paired off, and we did we exaggerated these two different we exaggerated these two different listening filters. And so one was like, whatever you say, I take it and make it about myself. So you say, I'm thinking about having a Bridge podcast. And I'm like, oh, I have a Bridge podcast. It's great. I've learned so much. And it's like, I'm taking what you're saying and I'm just totally like making it about me. And the other one was listening to solve. So it's like, you're like, yeah, I've got this friend, I'm teaching him Bridge. I'm like, oh, you should be teaching him Stamen, or you should be teaching him this. And so I was very good at doing like exaggerating those listening filters. And I also realized like how annoying it was when my partner would do that with me. And then they taught us like to practice conscious listening, and conscious listening is like repeating back what the person is saying, and really trying to understand like why are they sharing this with me. And literally my partner shared his story for conscious listening, and I was like, I raised my hand and I was like, I don't know how to do this. I literally did not know how to do the practice. And right after that, I had my episode with James Holzhauer, the Jeopardy champion. And
literally, I heard that. Yeah.
All I saw myself doing, like whenever he said something, I would want to make it about me. And I was just like, I don't know how to talk. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like relearning how to listen.
Dude, when I was laughing when you mentioned those two things, because they are so, I don't know, I felt you were talking about me. Like, I feel like that's a problem of mine for sure. It's something, we were in Vegas and we were hanging out, and one of the things you wrote down was, I'm not sure where it came in conversation, but I wrote down, it's just that I need to learn to just listen first, like listen to everything the person's saying, take it in, and like, I think it might be my way of conversation in a sense. It's just like, I think it's something that I struggled at when I was younger to, just in social settings, like engage in conversation and that. And I think kind of one of the ways I might have taught myself to do, or I don't know if it's happened organically, is that somebody says something and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of this, the time that this happened, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if it's just making conversation or it's just narcissism of some sort. I hope that it's not narcissism, like, but to me, it's just, I guess, you kind of, I guess the lesson there is to like listen first and speak, and ask more questions about people, rather than just relating it to yourself. But I don't really know how, I don't know what the right way to have a conversation is. I just have them, and then hopefully they end up okay,
Yeah.
So I guess that's a pretty specific thing to podcasting, isn't it? Just sitting, listening, asking questions.
Yeah, and also just like when you repeat back what the other person has said, like, are like that it's amazing what that does. That the other person just like, they run with it. They run with it. And then the hard thing for me is like, how do I do it in a way that I don't feel like I'm just like repeating back what they're saying? Because then that feels a little like
That would be my worry, I think.
Yeah.
See, again, relating it back to myself, my worry.
Exactly. I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd hope that people around me told me if that was like a thing that, like, I don't know. But yeah.
It's hard. Like it's hard. I didn't even know about it. Like once I saw it, I was like, holy shit. Like it was like.
But I feel like, what Conversations is, it's me talking about, like, wanting to find out about you and you wanting to find out about me. And I think that, like, as long as you're asking enough questions, then it's okay to just go run and talk about something that whatever the other person said reminded you of, because it's just a back and forth thing, like I don't really see a problem with that.
So you don't see a problem with it?
No, I don't see it. I don't personally see a problem with it, but I think I could see why other people did, I guess. And it's something that I'm conscious of and trying to improve, I guess, in a sense. And it's something I've definitely come a long way in that kind of space, thanks to a few friends of mine and stuff. But yeah, I don't see it being a problem with it,
Oh, there you have it.
As long as what you're talking about is interesting in some way, which judging from this podcast, I don't know, I'm going to go back and listen to it and probably punch myself in the head or something. But, yeah. I did feel like maybe you kind of could have had some, I guess, more prepared, preparation. Maybe we should have prepared for it together a little bit more. Like what Mech did. Here's a bunch of things you can ask me about. That would have been awesome, I guess.
Yeah, I thought about that a couple 20 minutes. I meditated for about 4 minutes before I got on my computer, and
I meditated for 13 minutes before I got home. I was like, usually I do 15 minutes, but I didn't have time. I was cutting it close.
I was taking a shower today, and I was like, what the fuck am I going to talk about on this? I'm like, it's going to be so, I don't want to just talk about how depressed I am.
Yeah. Shit. That sounds like a podcast for another time. You know what? When I start my bridge podcast, you can be the first guest and we'll talk about how depressed you are. Is that
Oh man.
Yeah, shit.
Wow.
Well, that's just a big can of worms.
You could launch your own podcast, and we could do it under the Setting Trick, and then also under Nabil Edggton podcast.
Yeah, that could be interesting. I wonder. I have to think about what my goal would be there, because the thing about podcasts is that I guess bridge is interesting because it's niche and we're looking for, I guess every bridge player has their own lessons and words of wisdom and strengths and weaknesses. But I wonder how many players at the top would just kind of have the same answers to things and the same experiences. I guess bridge is such a dynamic game that that probably wouldn't happen for quite a while. But I guess when I think of a podcast, I think of different people in different fields, I guess. And I guess what I'm thinking about is this is bridge, this is the same field, but maybe that's a bit closed-minded of me.
You're worried that people would have
I notice your facial reactions to what I say.
There you go.
That's all you need to say, really. I feel
I'm ready to wrap it up. I'm ready to wrap it up because I want to go to bed.
Okay. All right. Cool, dude. Well, thanks for doing this with me, man. And it was fun. And hope we didn't put too many people to sleep.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Sometimes it's hard for me to fall asleep. So
yeah. Maybe that's why you want to go to sleep now. All right. Thanks, dude.
And that's Nabil Edggton. He might just be the best bridge player in Australia. Thank you for listening. When we previously published this episode, I read each of our 3 reviews from Apple Podcasts, and we still only have 3 reviews. I would really like to have more reviews because I think they help new listeners. We are starting an email list. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. If you want more information on the show, there's some insider stuff that we're publishing there. And I think what we're probably going to do is send you an email every week when we publish a new episode with the transcript and the show notes. You'll get some backstory on your host here because one of the reviews was, is this about the host or the guest? So the email list maybe is a little bit more about the host, but we're making the shows more about the guests. I hope you're enjoying it.